Yo, when you busy. Great song. Amazing song. Maybe one of the best songs. I say top 3. Top 3 inspirational songs. You know what? When I wake up in the morning and I go out to train, this is what I listen to. And I tell you what, it was my top 3. I've now moved it into the top 10 because my friend here did a rendition in karaoke. I'm pretty sure he's still waking up in cold sweats about this thing.
That's better than waking up in Debo's pigeon coop now, isn't it?
That was a low blow.
Yeah.
You're watching Sports Talk. I'm Ray Mitchell.
I'm Steve Thompson.
And, you know, huge championship games this Sunday.
Huge.
We're going to leave Brady Manning alone. He and I had somewhat of a rift between this 10 years in the making.
Yeah, we have a long history. We all know that.
So to avoid the fisticuffs, we're going to move right into the Seattle-San Francisco game. Huge. Now, San Francisco's traveling to Seattle to face the #1 defense in the Seattle Seahawks. Going to be a tough challenge. San Francisco happens to be the #2 defense in the NFL. So I ask you, Steven, who has the edge in this defensive matchup? It should be somewhat of a battle royal this weekend.
Before I even get to the two defenses, because you have two rock solid defenses in these two teams. But before I even get to that, I actually want to address the 12th man.
Huge in Seattle.
I read an article earlier today. 62,000 season ticket holders have tickets for this game. And there's 6,000 seats left over, actually. And the Seattle Seahawks franchise actually didn't allow anyone with a return mailing address outside of Washington or any of the surrounding states in the Northwest.
Is that true?
Yeah,
that's a true story?
That's rock solid, yeah.
Wow. So, are they authorized to do something like that?
I have no idea.
Isn't that like segregation, modern day segregation?
You know what that means?
It means it's going to be rocking in Seattle come Sunday.
It means the 12th man will be in the building.
It's going to be the 12 and a half man come this Sunday.
Absolutely.
Now, please, Steven, because I'm completely baffled with this matchup. I really would love to know what it is going to give which team the edge come this Sunday.
Well, definitely, I'm going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks. And their strongest level of defense is their secondary.
Totally agree.
You got Richard Sherman out there. And, you know, the guy has his dreads swinging all over the place.
He's like He-Man.
He just seems to be everywhere on the field.
He's like He-Man, let loose.
I think we're going to have to start to consider him the best cornerback in the NFL instead of Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, I've definitely bought my one-way ticket off of Revis Island at this point.
So what is it now, Sherman Island?
No, I'm residing in Sherman City as of now.
Actually, that's Robinson Cano City now.
He makes a good point there.
Yeah, but aside from that, on the other hand, the San Francisco 49ers, they may just have the best front four in the NFL. You have the Smith brothers, who've racked up more sacks than any other two players in the NFL in the past 2 seasons.
Tough.
What they do is they get the quarterback on his heels, they put pressure on you, and they make you make fast, quick decisions.
I think we've seen some of that last playoff game against Carolina where they just had one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league just look completely silly out there.
Well, it looked like Cam Newton lost his puppy on the sideline.
I think he may have tweeted, "I just lost my puppy" on the sideline.
That's what it looked like.
That's how he was looking.
But of the two defenses, I think I'm going to lean towards the 49ers because they have so many playmakers at all 3 levels.
Yeah, but they have Bowman out there.
You have Navarro Bowman in the middle. Then the secondary is a little patched together. I'd probably say it's the weakest line of their defense, but they're serviceable and they get the job done.
Agreed.
Seattle's defense has 3 levels, and they're also rock solid, but I just feel like the 49ers, the guys on the 49ers, they're at that point where they're ready to get over that hump. Yeah. You had the NFC Championship 3 years ago when they lost to the Giants where, you know, Alex Smith couldn't really make a play to help for his life. And you had last year where they get over the hump finally, they get to the Super Bowl, and it's just a debacle.
Right.
So, you know, with that said, I feel like the Niners, their defense is just going to come to play, and I don't think any of those guys are scared to go up to Seattle and to compete.
Nor do I. No, so, I have to agree with those points, Steven.
So with that said, we have two young quarterbacks that are competing in this game also.
The futures of the NFL is actually there. They're going head-to-head.
Absolutely.
Divisional rivalry, huge game. They both split. I mean, Seattle won in Seattle. San Fran won at Candlestick. And, for these reasons, home field is essential. But to me, I have to give Cap the edge here. From what I'm seeing from Russell, his numbers were great regular season. He's kind of on a decline. It seems as if he's peaked during the season, whereas I feel like Kaepernick is just coming on. I mean, prime example is him in Green Bay. He needs to make a huge play, third down, tucks the ball. He's 20 yards downfield before you could blink. Huge play. And it's kind of like I'm seeing Russell.
Changing.
Huge, right? It changed the whole game.
It changed the game.
And it's kind of like I'm seeing before my own eyes Russell Wilson turn into a game manager more so than a game winner. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think in order to beat a defense like the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to have to do a little bit more than manage the game. You're going to have to go out and win the game. And I think Kaepernick just has that it factor.
So you're giving the edge to Kaepernick?
I'm going to have to give the edge to Kaepernick. I feel like the kid has ice water in his veins. Despite all the scrutiny he was facing early in the season, he shows up and he plays ball.
I'm not going to totally write off Russell Wilson.
Right. No, should you? He's a great football player.
Because the boy can ball.
Quarterbacks. He could ball.
4th round draft pick out of Wisconsin.
Yes, he could ball.
He played in pro-style offenses in college, which helped him with his transition to the league.
Right.
Not to mention Pete Carroll. It must be, if I played in the NFL, I would play for Pete Carroll.
I would want to play. These guys have yoga lessons.
The guy's 60 plus, and he has the fire in his heart like he's 30 years old.
It's amazing. He looks so good for a 6-year-old guy. I would never bet he was 60 and change. He runs up and down field. He's animated all game, and he just looks like he loves to show up to his job.
So, with that said, I don't necessarily want to write off Wilson, but I do believe he has to get his game to a level where he's not so much relying on his running back, or he's not relying on his defense.
Right, to win him games.
Exactly.
And you're right, Steven.
Last week he didn't have the greatest game, although he did make that 24-yard completion later in the ball game to really get them over the hump.
Right.
But, if I'm going to choose of the two, I think I'm going to have to side with you with Kaepernick.
Right.
But reason being, I feel like Kaepernick has more help coming his way from his offense.
He makes a great point.
Line.
And as far as the help goes, he makes a huge point. Because as skilled as the Seattle defense is in both, secondary defense and their linebacker position, San Francisco creates such a problem with Crabtree on the outside. You're getting Anquan Bolden, one of the best possession receivers I'll say I maybe ever have seen. I mean, his hands are amazing.
Call him up on 3rd down.
Call him up on 3rd down. He picks that phone up every single time.
He's money.
And let's not forget we have Frank Gore coming out of the backfield, Vernon Davis at the tight end position. They're just so versatile. Now, to guard those guys and still have to worry about Kaepernick escaping out of the backfield, it's just a headache.
But you know what? There's an element to Seattle's game that we have to keep in mind here. The Seahawks are a younger team than the 49ers.
Yeah.
Those guys that they have on defense,
right,
they do hit hard. And I don't know how the older guys on the 49ers are going to react if they do get to a point where Seattle's just knocking them down.
Knocking them down.
Frank Gore he's 90 in running back years.
He's almost out there with his walker, converting first downs with his walker.
He's 90 in running back years. Great player, but
all in all, Steve, I will have to say this weekend we're going to watch a great matchup as everyone expects it will be, but I'm giving the edge here to San Fran. I don't know how healthy Percy Harvin is. I don't know what to expect from Russell. I'm giving the edge to San Fran.
Yeah, I think Kaepernick is not yet the quarterback that he can be.
Right.
But I feel 27-17 is what I'm leaning towards. They're at a position where they don't necessarily need him to play the best ball he can possibly play for them to win. I feel as if the Seahawks need Wilson to play the best ball, and I don't necessarily think that the Niners defense is going to let that happen. So
there you go. We're both on San Fran. It's very rare that we agree on something. So when we do agree, it's almost solid as a rock. So take that to the bank with you. I'm hopped up on NyQuil. I'm totally sick. Have a good night.